Don't be a billboard lawyer. That's literally what I tell them. Don't be a billboard lawyer. I can just nail them. I nail them and say, okay, so really you don't know what you're talking about. And really you have no idea. I've got people all over the world who are working on things for me. So I've got a virtual assistant.
The benefit to just always going through Asana, Trello, Slack, and everything is basically in the cloud is that you could be anywhere in the world at any time of the day or whatever it is, even if you're at a 12-hour difference, and you could still get work done.
I think having procedures in place before you hire them, so that they know what to do and, this is what needs to be done. So they have like a clear understanding. I've had many adjusters who, just went into the attic, popped up in the attic, took a couple pictures, and then, left and then said, oh, well, the damage is long term. Well, how do you know that? If you were only in the attic for 10 seconds, you didn't look at anything.
What's up, advocates? And welcome back to another episode of the Claims Game podcast. Today we're excited. Well, first, we are sponsored by Fortes Health. Fortes Health is a fantastic way that you can get all of the necessary things that you need to protect yourself throughout this whole COVID crisis. They got masks, they got gloves, different kinds of masks, all kinds of really good stuff. And better yet, you get 20% off if you put code VINCE20 when you purchase on forteshealth.com. VINCE20, and you get 20% off. How about that, people? I mean, come on. It's not better than that. Today, I am very, very, very excited to announce that we have a very special guest, a lawyer, an insurance claims lawyer, and a really good one at that. Not just a good lawyer, but also an amazing marketer when it comes to social media. Her name is Brittany Alexander. She goes by lawyer.brit on Instagram. She's got tens of thousands of followers. So not only do we talk about claims and dealing with the insurance companies, making sure you put your documentation together, present the claim the way you're supposed to so that she as a lawyer, as an attorney, could knock it out of the park, but she's got some really great advice when it comes to social media. How she was able to grow to such tens of thousands of followers, how she has a completely virtual office, not just, there's no physical office. That's a thing of the past, people. She's got a completely virtual office where she works from home. And all her assistants work from their home. And where is their home? The Philippines and other places throughout the world. This is what we need to get to, people. This is the way I run my business. This is the way she runs her business. And this is the way most people should. For those of you that thought the technology was going to lose jobs, we're going to kill jobs, well, guess what? With virtual assistants, it's created tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of jobs. So I want you guys to listen up. It's a really, really great interview. I'm very excited. Like I said, she's got a tremendous social media presence. So if you're a lawyer and you want to figure out, watch this podcast or listen to this podcast because she's going to give some really good tips and tricks on how to do that. And if you're a public adjuster thinking about it, obviously you could ask me how I've been able to do it. But again, she's got some really great ways of doing it. And I really hope that you enjoy it. So make sure that you follow lawyer.brit. Brittany, she is, like I said, a great follow. She comes out with some really great information. And also, she's got some really good stuff coming out for public adjusters on her website as well, or on YouTube. So keep an eye out for that. So make sure that you get her on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and make sure that you visit her website as well. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Brittany Alexander.
Welcome to the Claims Game podcast with Vince Perri. Get all the tips you need from insurance claim advocates and professionals and grow your public adjusting career to the next level. And now the commercial claims advocate, Vince Perri.
I see you moving a little bit. Huh? Bad, right? Not bad. That's what you can get on Fiverr for like $50.
That's great. I like that a lot.
Brittany, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. You have no idea. I look up to you, Brittany. Seriously.
Thanks, Vince. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on.
I mean, you've got such a great social media presence, and you've got such great content that you come out with all the time. You've got a really, really nice following as well. And best of all, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just literally preparing for this interview, I went onto your Instagram page and you put on about a 1.5 2-minute video about a new endeavor and a new, I guess, life-changing event that you have. Can you explain that for us?
Yeah. So on October 1st, 2020, I opened my own law firm called Premier Property Law. So I am now a Solo practitioner. I'm taking on cases representing homeowners against their insurance companies.
Oh, check this out. Look, I got this thing.
Yes, I love that. That's what I deserve.
Right? Exactly. You got to get a round of applause. So that's fantastic. So doing a little research on you, like I said, you started like around 2014, right?
So 2016 is when I became a lawyer, or when I graduated law school, became a lawyer in 2017. So I've been doing property insurance for 3.5 years now.
Nice. So
Yeah.
my first question to you before we get into the claims is, what was the road to entrepreneurship like? Because you started in 2016 and in just 4 years, you've been able to start your own firm, which is quite impressive.
Yes.
What was that road like?
So it was a lot of buildup. It was a lot of buildup. I always knew I wanted to have my own law firm, and it was just a matter of learning the law first. It's hard to go out on your own when you're not really sure about you know, the actual product, the actual service you're doing, right? But I learned my craft. I said, you know what? I'm going to take the jump. No better day than right now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And what are some of the things now that you're preparing as what's I guess what's some of the differences that you think you're going to encounter or you're already encountering just in this first week from having your own law firm to working for someone else?
I mean, definitely just putting my own systems, my own procedures into place, that is just huge. Doing everything the way I want to do it, the way I think is best, because everybody thinks their way is best, but you have to find something that works with how you want to run your business. We talked a little bit earlier about virtual assistants, having the virtual assistants be able to do things that they're really good at and having them do things that you don't need to do. That was going to be huge for me, because there are a lot of things that, especially in a traditional law firm, there are a lot of things that the attorney does they don't really have to do. The attorney should focus on substantive legal things, making arguments, settling cases. And, the other things should be for other people to do so you can stay in your zone of genius. You know what I mean?
I completely agree with you. I mean, that's
Yeah.
why I have my virtual assistant who does all my follow-ups with the claims. And I mean,
There you go.
it was so many years. I mean, 10 years I was doing it basically on my own, and just every week or every 2 weeks, I got to follow up with this claim, got to follow up with this claim. And it really wasn't much. I mean, we're going to get into it, but the reason why I follow up is just really to prepare that case for you guys, to make sure that we've got all the documentation, just all through email, all that we could, so if they do act up, if they do screw up, we have everything there.
Right.
But it would be so time consuming. And with having a virtual assistant with the calendar and everything, where they could just do the follow-up, and I've got all the templates already set up on what the emails are supposed to look like, it makes life so much easier, because now I could spend more time networking, signing the claims, going to the inspections, and doing really the stuff that I really enjoy doing, and negotiating as well.
Yeah, negotiating is huge. I enjoy doing that too.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
So I guess, tell me about the, I was going to also say, you were talking about doing things your own way. When I used to have a tennis academy years ago. And I remember when I opened up my own tennis academy, the one thing that I used to hate about teaching tennis was Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. But it's just a stupid example. But when I had my own tennis academy, Saturday morning classes did not start until 11 o'clock.
That's such a simple thing, you wouldn't think it would be such a big deal, but it makes a huge difference, it makes a huge difference.
Right. So what are some of the things that you're like making your own, that you're doing yourself? What are some of the things besides the virtual assistant, I guess?
Right. I mean, it goes kind of along those lines, right? It's kind of along the lines of, starting when you want to start. Cause I'm not fully awake until like 10 a.m. So now I can start at 10 a.m. But then, I take client calls, all the way until 7, 8, 9 o'clock, like I'm available, you know what I mean? And things like that, so, and giving my personal cell phone number out, that was going to be huge for me too. Cause I want people to feel like they can call me directly, connect, direct open communication is huge. Like I said in that video. So, having people just call me through there and not going through a receptionist or, something like that was big for me as well.
Number one rule for my guys, the PAs or anybody else, is answer your phone. That's like number one.
Answer your phone. Number one.
You just get so much work done. You could meet so many different people. You don't miss referrals. I mean, it's just the way to do it. Teamwork is great too when other people call you. What about, I've always wanted to know, because I'm not really sure, as a lawyer, are you required to have a physical office, or can you work virtually?
No, you're not required to have a physical office. I mean, with all the co-working spaces, if I needed to meet with a client, you just have an office space for a few hours, or have a designated space to meet them. And especially with COVID and law practice going very, very much online. I mean, I haven't been in a courthouse in 7 months, however long we've been doing this, right? So there's no real need for a space. We can get everything done on the phone, via Zoom, email. So no, you don't need one.
The silver lining with COVID, as terrible as it's been, has been the whole virtual thing. How like it's just been so. I mean, everything has gone virtual. We don't, and I've been trying to do this for years now to just go completely virtual. Thank God I was a little bit ahead of the game, but I mean, it's nice that now it's sort of fast forward that process for a lot more people going virtual, and it's pretty cool. I mean, you don't have to go to court anymore. That's pretty nice.
It's nice because there's always court in the morning, and it's like they schedule 50 different cases to happen between. It's just like 5 minute, like boom, 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 knock it out.
Right.
But you used to have to get up early, get all dressed up, drive to the courthouse, find somewhere to park, get to the courtroom you needed to go to. Sometimes there's multiple, and you're running back and forth between each. And now it's I'm answering client emails and drafting pleadings, and I'm just sitting there waiting for my case to be called on Zoom. It's so much more efficient. And I think that this has really forced the courts to do that. Like, I don't think we would have had this scenario for a lot longer if COVID hadn't happened. So it kind of just pushed the courts to go online.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so why insurance claims defense? How did you get into that?
Also, not defense, but I did do defense. So long story short, I got a job out of law school at a bigger law firm. And it was kind of just, they did everything, but they did a lot of insurance defense. So I actually started doing like residential, disputes. I started doing commercial litigation, and some insurance defense kind of spilled out over onto my desk. And before I knew it, the majority of my claims were insurance defense. And while I did learn a lot on that side, it just wasn't fulfilling. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to make the jump, and I'm going to go work for the property owners instead.
And how'd you like that?
It's way better. Oh, it's so much better. So much better. Yes. You get the relationship with the homeowner. It's just, I really like it. I love my clients. They're all great.
And it's hard to defend the man. You know what I mean? The all great, all powerful giant.
Yeah.
One of my best friends is actually a defense attorney.
Really?
Yeah, for the insurance company. And we were talking the other day. I'm just, she's like, oh, I just got out of a depot. I'm like, oh, I love those. And she's like, yeah, I love them too, but I don't understand. You guys are just idiots. Some of you guys are just idiots. You don't know what you're doing. I said, look, my cases are good. I said, so I make you guys look like an idiot in the depots because you're trying to call me out on this. And you're calling me out on that. And you're asking me why I'm removing and replacing a baseboard instead of detaching and resetting. And my response to that is, you're sitting in this office. You haven't even been to this client's house. How do you know whether, and you have zero construction experience. How do you know whether the baseboard needs to be removed or replaced or detached and reset? And I said, besides, that's peanuts compared to what we're talking to. If you want us to give you the baseboards, we will. Are you going to settle the case or what? So I don't know.
Just the little nitpicking things. I'm sure I know that your claim files are ready and good to go. So you probably take great depositions.
I love depositions. I'll never forget when I first started. They make anybody nervous, and in the course that we give, we talk to the new PAs and let them know, it could be a strenuous little process, but I always laugh because a lot of people tell me that they're in there for hours. My depots are never more than an hour. And it's just straight cut to the point.
Yeah. I think that and this is just my personal opinion, but I think if a lawyer takes a deposition that's longer than 2 hours max, then at that point, they don't even know what they're doing, because you can go in and get the information you need in like an hour and a half, unless somebody's being difficult, then it takes a little bit longer. But you don't need to ask everything. You know what I mean? Ask the important things. You know what's important. You know what actually matters. Just get in there and ask it.
Yeah, but they're just trying to give us a hard time. That's pretty.
Yeah, well, they're trying to bill hours, is what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
that's what they're trying to do. Yeah, they're trying to bill hours. So because defense works on an hourly, they have to bill 8 hours a day, right? And that only includes what's like billable. So they want to sit there for 3 hours so they can just 3 hours done so far. I only have 5 to go. But yeah, that's why they do that.
I've heard from other people that sometimes the depositions are literally only done they're only scheduled just to extend the case and bill more hours. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely true. You're within your legal rights to depose anybody you want, but at some point it's like, does the guy who, came in to give just one quote on the roof really know anything? No. Why are you taking his deposition? You know what I mean? It's yes.
Yeah.
Short answer is yes.
Yeah, I work with different experts as well, and I tell the experts, if I need them for anything, roof leak repair, report, plumbing repair, whatever it is, and I let them know, like, look, I need you to come in here, test these floors. I have a flooring expert who's a really great guy here. Test these floors, let me know what you think. And I tell them, I'm just like, look, there's always a chance that if this case does end up in litigation, that you will have to be deposed. And everyone that I've gotten, I always get a call back from the lawyer saying, dude, that guy was awesome. he made the attorney look like an idiot. Because what I tell the experts and what I tell other public adjusters, make sure that you have an expert that knows what he's doing, because if he goes into a deposition, he gets drilled by a lawyer. If the guy's an expert, knows what he's doing, he could really make that lawyer look like a moron in a
Oh
deposition,
yeah.
because they're the plumbing expert. They're the
Yeah.
flooring expert, not the
Yeah.
lawyer, and not me. I'm a public adjuster. I know how to read policies, and I know how to negotiate and do all what I have to do. You know how to do what you have to do, and the plumber knows how to do what they have to do.
Exactly. We're all in our zone of genius. You don't need to know, you don't need to know about law to do the deposition. You know what I mean? You just need to know about what you know about.
Exactly. Exactly. So did you always want to do this insurance work? Like when you first got into law school, or did you want to do anything else?
Oh
Or
no, I thought I was going to be doing corporate law. So my dad's a corporate lawyer, and I was just like, oh yeah, I'm going to do M&As and I'm going to draft contracts and help franchises and all this stuff. Like I thought I was going to be in like the business world. I've always been in business, obviously, not a business owner, but like I've always really been into that. But it turns out that to be a corporate attorney, you have to be like an old man, and I wasn't quite there yet. So so my dad suggested, oh, why don't you get a job doing like commercial litigation, get your foot in the door there. So that's how I ended up at that big firm, and then ended up getting, insurance defense kind of spilled over onto my desk. So no, it did not. I didn't, it wasn't even in the insurance world. It just kind of came to me. And then I said, oh, okay, I kind of like this. I'll work for the homeowner.
is there like an awakening moment or any kind of moment where you realize this is it? This is what I want to do?
Yes, actually, last year, because I had a case where it was just like the sweetest lady, and she just had so much damage, and that case was just, there were so many things wrong with it, and we ended up getting her 50 grand, and she was just overjoyed, like overjoyed, and she still sends me little messages like, hope you're doing well, honey. And that made it for me. I was just like, this is it. This makes me feel amazing. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna keep doing this forever.
Yeah, that's such a great feeling, right? It just makes the
Yeah.
job so much better when you get them, they get taken advantage of. I walk into claims all the time where they're underpaid a deductible. I mean, one of my biggest claims in Miami was after Irma association. I mean, all these people were experiencing leaks. Almost every single one of these units, I'm talking like 70 units, 13 buildings, they're all experiencing
Wow.
leaks. Insurance adjuster went out there after the storm and wrote nothing. Like it was, they cover, but they extended coverage. They extended
That's a
coverage,
good
and
thing.
it was under deductible. So we took it from there, and they went from under deductible to $1.5 million.
Of course they did.
See, like,
Can't even
what's
tell
not?
you how many cases I've had like that. I even had a case. I have to tell you about this. So I had a case where the insurance company, I won't name names because you never know, but so the insurance company sent a letter to my client, said, hey, you have damage from Irma. We're going to pay you 6 grand. Sent a letter, look for the check. But 2 days later, they called and said, hey, our engineer is going to come out and inspect. And so the homeowners, this is before I was even involved. Homeowners are like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Engineer comes out, writes a report, says actually it's all wear and tear and foot traffic, not covered. And so then the insurance company, okay, well, it's not covered. We're not sending you that check. What? Like,
They
when
went
I
from
heard
six
that, I
grand
was
to
like, "Are
nothing.
you serious?" And then I took the deposition of the corporate rep, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we sent that letter out, but we're not going to pay anything." And I was like, "That's bad faith, buddy, but okay." All
Right.
right.
Exactly.
All
Exactly.
right.
Did you get your own engineer out there or anything?
Oh
Or
yeah, of course. Yeah, that case actually went to arbitration a couple weeks ago, so still waiting on the result on that. But
it's
yeah,
ridiculous.
I know, and it pains me to think that there might be other people out there who got that letter and then got a letter that said, oh, your claim's denied, and then they don't know they can fight it, or they don't know that that's wrong. Like the insurance company's not allowed to screw up. especially not
So,
like that, so.
so they sent their payment letter. Is that what you're saying? That like the
They
letter you
sent a payment letter, said,
$1,000.
look out for the check. It's coming in the mail. And then a couple of days later, they didn't send the check at all. They sent out their engineer. Engineer said, oh, actually, it's not covered. And then they sent a denial letter. So they sent a payment letter, said, look out for the check. And then they sent a denial letter and said, oops, sorry. We're not actually sending the check.
Yeah, as bad as that sucks, and that's totally bad faith on their end. I'm sure you looked at that.
Yeah.
I'm sure, yeah, but that's got to make you smile too. It's like, oh, we got him. We
Oh,
got him.
yeah. Yeah. When I found that, I was just like, this is it. That's one of those cases where you're like, this is the smoking gun. I've
Yep,
got
that's
it.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
What was I gonna? Man, I had a question lined up. Oh no, I forgot. Um, let's talk about claims. I mean, let's talk
Do
about
it.
some good stuff.
Yeah.
So in regards to, I don't know, like preparation, you were talking about that. And you were talking about how important that is. And I know we talked about it before we got on here about, that's one thing that I pride myself on. And honestly, I'm not afraid to admit it. That was taught to me by an attorney because, he was getting some of my claims and I wanted to make sure that, they were set up correctly. And he would tell me, he'd be like, I would call him, thankfully, which is, I think, another thing I would tell you which is great, is make sure whenever I bring an attorney onto my list, I always, and we sit down for lunch or anything, I always tell them, just answer my phone. Like, that's it. Just
Of
when I
course.
call, answer my phone. And he was really, really good at that. And he would help me throughout the entire claims process. And then long story short, fast forward 10 years, I've got a whole step-by-step system on weekly follow-ups. I have an email and a letter for the first follow-up, email, letter for the second follow-up, email, letter for the third follow-up, 14-day no response letter, 90-day no coverage determination letter, all kinds of stuff. That's what I do. What are some of the things that you would say that should be done by all public adjusters to make sure that the case is sort of wrapped up and set up the way it's supposed to, so that when you do get it, because there's too many, sorry if I'm rambling. I
It's
tend to do
okay.
that.
I'm taking it in.
There's too many public adjusters out there that, because you guys do such a good job, most of you, not all of you, but most of you, that a lot of public adjusters think signed LOR, estimate, and that's all I need in my file.
Yeah.
If it gets denied, it's okay. The attorney will take care of it. And that's how I used to think when I first started. So again, back to the first question, what are some of the things that you think are vital to make sure that when you do get that case, that you've got a strong case?
Right. So I think having all your communications with the insurance company in the file is very helpful because, I need to know when you reported the claim exactly. Did the insurance company even really acknowledge it? Did they send people out there? Did they, keep you up to date with their claims process? Has it been over 90 days? If so, we need to go forward with the lawsuit. If it hasn't, and, the insurance company says, oh, it's under deductible or we're only paying this much, did you dispute it prior to sending it to me? Like, I need to know if that happened so we can, I need to know if we can file the suit now or if we have to wait and dispute the amount, things like that. And I also think it's really important. So I've got, we kind of talked about this before. I've got a video series coming out tomorrow for public adjusters. And one of the things in there is taking notes during the field adjusters inspection. So I have, and most public adjusters don't do this, they're physically at the inspection. So they think, oh, yeah, this, and this, they go through their estimate and stuff like that. But I think it's really important to know about what the field adjuster did, because eventually, if it goes to suit, I take the field adjuster's deposition. I ask him or her a bunch of questions about the inspection, and a lot of the times they don't really have any notes, or if they do, the insurance company is claiming it as privilege, so they can't look at it anyway. And it's been so long. I'll say, oh, how long were you at the inspection? And they'll just say, oh, I don't know, maybe an hour. What if it was 30 minutes? Like, that's not really an adequate time to walk through everything. Or even better, I've had many adjusters who, just went into the attic, popped up in the attic, took a couple pictures, and then, left and then said, oh, well, the damage is long term. Well, how do you know that? If you were only in the attic for 10 seconds, you didn't look at anything. Did you see decay? Was anything discolored? They have no idea. So in the instances where I've had those kind of notes of like where they inspected, where they didn't inspect, how long they inspected, did they just pop their head in the attic? Did they just get on the ladder and take a couple of photos of the roof? Things like that. I can just nail them. I nail them. And it's okay. So really, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, really, you have no idea. And so then I can kind of use that to exclude part of the field adjuster's testimony should we ever go to trial. so that they can't testify as to what was in the attic because they really didn't look at the attic. And then there's kind of a gaping hole in their case, because they don't have any knowledge of what the attic really looked like around that time, around the date of loss. So you kind of say, hey, you've got like this kind of gaping hole. So you can't say the damage was long term because you didn't actually see anything in the attic. You kind of get where I'm going with this. It's all about kind of the evidence.
Absolutely. I mean, that's awesome, because
Yeah.
one thing, a disadvantage that we have here in Florida is that we can't record someone else without their knowledge and permission.
Right.
So the adjusters that I know in Texas, they do it all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's totally allowed. So they go right into the inspection and they record every single inspection. They record every single phone call. So what I do is exactly what you're saying. And I try to tell other public adjusters to do it as well. Thankfully, I've got a virtual assistant. And as soon as I have an inspection, I go on WhatsApp and I leave her a voice note of exactly everything that happened throughout that inspection. And then she'll go in whenever she goes back in and she just transcribes the whole thing.
Wow. That's an incredible idea. I'm going to start doing that.
It's legal, right?
Yeah, of course. It's your own notes.
It's my own notes, right? That's what I thought. Yeah. So I figure it's easier to leave a voice note, because for me to type the whole thing on my phone and all that stuff, I just describe it and then she transcribes it however, and then we've got all the evidence for that inspection. Especially if they say something. Brilliant. If they say something like, oh yeah, well, we'll pay for all this floor. Oh yeah, we're going to pay for the roof. Yeah. And then they don't. It's like, I've got these notes.
Exactly. Yeah.
I just wish we could record them. What else? What are some of the other things? So keep a lookout for that. Thank you for saying that, Brittany. You've got how long is that going to be? That's going to be several days. Is it going to be just one episode that you're doing that to help public?
So it's multiple. You'll receive them via email. I think it's about 8 days long. So you'll get one each day.
8 days long via. How long is each one?
So some of them don't have videos, some of them do. They're short. I mean, less than 10 minutes, everybody's super busy. I like to just jam pack, everything into one little easy to digest video, watch on your own leisure.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a really great idea. That could help public adjusters with some free advice that you could really help them on.
Yeah.
Tell me about that free advice. I'm always having public adjusters, sort of, not always, but sometimes they're like, dude, what are you doing? You're telling all these things, all these secrets and stuff like that. Or people who are outside of the industry, they're just like, you're providing all this content and stuff like that, but like, you're giving away secrets. I've learned, which I'm sure you're going to agree with, that if you are the person who's giving out the quote unquote secrets, then you're the person that they're going to go to when they need answers.
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
100% agree. You're going to be top of mind, if you're giving it. And I mean, secrets is kind of a loose term, right? I mean, you can learn them. If you really want to learn them, you can learn them. You know what I mean? But it's keeping top of mind. You're giving all this information out, even if people don't remember exactly. And by the way, people usually don't remember what you tell them. People watch a video and they forget about it a couple weeks later. But if you keep telling people, if you keep giving people value, giving people information, you will stay top of mind. And then when they have a problem, they'll be like, oh, like, I think Vince said something about what I'm supposed to do in this situation. And then they call you.
I was on a podcast. Last week. It's out now for Randolph Love. He's big on social. He's big in Facebook and stuff like that. He's a public adjuster also, and now he's actually a certified life coach. Really good guy. And he was interviewing me, and he actually brought up something that was fascinating, which is basically what we do, which is how we do our customer acquisition, which is basically not necessarily, and if you are, I apologize, but we're not usually buying billboards. We're not putting ads in magazines. We don't have commercials on TV. We don't have ads on the radio. What we're doing is just providing basically free advice on social media so that we could be the go-to person when it comes to all this. I'm not promoting my company. I'm not promoting, hey, come and sign up with Key Biscayne Claim Adjusters because we're going to settle your claim fast and we're going to do all this. It's more like, no, I'm going to try to be somewhat of importance to you as public adjusters, to you as policyholders, to make sure that if a loss does occur, you're going to want to get the advice from the guy or the girl who knows everything. Right. How valuable do you think that is?
I think that is you're completely spot on. And I actually, when people reach out to me on Instagram, they're like, lawyers specifically, but even like realtors or, public adjusters, like, how do I do what you're doing? And I'm like, don't be a billboard lawyer. That's literally what I tell them. Don't be a billboard lawyer, because The days of being on TV and, I mean, Morgan and Morgan obviously is one of those people, Morgan and Morgan for the people. The days of just being able to put plaster your face and your name all over, billboards and TV commercials is gone. It's done. Like nobody's really calling Morgan and Morgan anymore. You know what I mean? So it's like giving people value and showing them, hey, I know what I'm talking about and I can help you. I'm willing to help you and be here. I'm approachable and like accessible is so much more valuable than just saying, call me if you get in a car accident, call me if you have a roof leak. Why should they call you? You're not giving them any reason. You know what I mean?
Because like I'm convinced. I've got the experience, I guess, but I'm no better at public adjusting than anybody else really is.
Right.
I mean, got some more experience, but that's pretty much it. Everybody, it's all the same system. It all sort of goes the same way.
Right.
So, I think it's super valuable, and you've been able to what I really like about you is that I sent you a message and within minutes you responded to that message.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought it was great. It's not like, a lot of the social media people, especially like the influencers and stuff, they go on, they're going to see how many followers does that person have? How much of a following does that person have? Like you are able to be accessible. And as a lawyer, I think that is remarkable because the biggest thing that people hate about lawyers is that they're extremely difficult to get a hold of. And if you're like that with me, I could almost guarantee that most or if not every message that you receive on Instagram, you respond to, right?
Right. 100%. I mean, you're kind of your first impression. You know what I mean? If you're hard to get a hold of in the beginning, like what are you going to be like when you're handling someone's claim? Or someone's case. That's my feeling of it. You want to show them that you're going to be there, available to answer their questions, to talk to them. It's important.
And when in your 3.5, 4 years here, when you started, when did you start really going hard on the on social media and just being that lawyer, that accessible lawyer that people could come to and get advice from?
June of this year.
Get out of here. That's
June, and I will tell you this story. Okay, so I've been a lawyer for over 3 years, right? And I don't remember where I was. I was somewhere and I was with one of my friends, one of my best friends for a decade now. And her boyfriend, who I've known for years, was like, "Hey, like, what kind of law do you do again?" And I was like, if he doesn't know what kind of law I do, nobody knows. You know what I mean? People may know I'm a lawyer, but they don't know what to send to me. They're not thinking of me when they hear somebody's claim or somebody's issue, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start posting videos and put stuff, like Gary Vee. I'm just like, I'm going to put stuff out there and be top of my, yeah, I know you love Gary Vee.
Yeah, I mean, it started for me because I got sick and tired of walking into 10K water damage limits. I got sick and tired of walking into water damage exclusions. And I'm like, people don't know, like either whatever. I don't want to talk about agents so much, but either they're not telling them or people just don't know how to read a policy. So that's how I started with it. And I just started doing one video after the other. And like you said, when you see a face and you can connect the face to the message, it could really go a long way.
Yeah. And that's another reason too, is because there were so many people that were coming to me, so many clients who like they had issues going on for months and they either didn't know or they didn't know they could make a claim, things like that. And it's like you said, I think that people just don't know how to read their policy. They think that a lot of agents just send the deck pages, and the deck pages is just like a little checklist of like, this is what's covered, but like there's another 100 pages of the policy that actually tells you what is covered and when, so I think it's really important to educate people first.
Well, they do that on purpose with the policy.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's also, I mean, reading a policy is a nightmare for anybody who's never read even a legal contract. I mean, it's just, this is added, this is deleted, and it's just written in the most confusing way because it's written by lawyers. So, obviously that's why it's confusing. They wrote it for themselves.
I hate it. I mean, I try to avoid it, but if I have to, you got to go through the policy. And it's just like, It's no matter how many times I open that policy, I still have to flip through it a million times to find out what I'm really looking for.
I know.
And I've read a policy a million times,
Yeah. I can't even tell you how many times I get calls from public adjusters and they're like, I'm in someone's house. Can you just really quick look at this policy, just look through this? And I'm like, yeah. And so I'll flip through, but okay, this is covered. This isn't covered,
Ah, well, that's very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I love doing that.
Yeah, because that's when I tell people to have a lawyer on their side as far as a public adjuster is concerned, because there's just going to be times where that water damage little exclusion there is read or written a little bit differently than maybe the last one that you went to. So I always tell people I have a couple lawyers on speed dial, and I want to make sure that And I will tell you this, besides getting the answer that you hopefully can get when you call that lawyer, but you could also really make yourself, at least as a public adjuster, look real good when, look, I got my lawyer on speed dial.
Yeah, I just call them up. Oh, hey, what's if I had this problem? What's going on here? That would make you feel great.
Mm-hmm.
This guy knows what he's doing.
So are you practicing law in only the state of Florida?
Yes, so
Okay.
I'm only licensed in Florida
And you are
at this
located
time.
where? At this time. And where are you located?
I'm in Fort Lauderdale.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Fort
And
Lauderdale.
are you from Fort Lauderdale or no?
I'm from Orlando, but I've been living in Fort Lauderdale since I became a lawyer, so over 3 years.
And you went to FSU, right?
I did. Go Knowles.
Oh, I'm just surprised you didn't go to UCF. I had a lot of friends that went to UCF.
I didn't go to UCF for that point. It's because I literally grew up 10 minutes, 15 minutes from UCF. I said, no,
So
I got to go somewhere else. Yeah.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
I'm a Hurricanes fan, so.
Oh, okay. Well, see you later.
We have to end the podcast. We're done. But you went to Barry. I had a good friend of mine play tennis for Barry, so Barry's really cool. Is that you just went to Barry? You just never left, huh? You just stayed in that area?
So actually, their law school is in Orlando.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Right?
Yeah. So their campus is in Miami, but their law school, I don't know why. I have no idea why that is, but their law school is in Orlando.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you went to Fort Lauderdale, I'm assuming because of work?
Yeah. Well, I always knew I wanted to move down here because it's fun. There's lots to do, beautiful weather. I just wanted somewhere different, and this is where I ended up.
And the majority of your claims, I guess all your claims are in that area, or do you have claims all the way up to the Panhandle, to Miami?
All the way up to Pensacola. I got some in Jacksonville, Orlando, all over Florida.
Have you gotten any in from Sally yet?
Actually, one that I just signed yesterday.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Homeowners claim or commercial claim?
Homeowners, yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you specialize mainly in homeowners or pretty much anything?
I've done a lot of commercial claims, but I like doing homeowners.
Yeah, I have a guy who's up in Pensacola right now, and he's going door to door, and we do have a connection with the water mitigation company up there, and they're sending us some referrals, some leads as well. So he's already signed a few claims, so it's we're pretty excited about what's going to happen there.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I want to go there quite yet. I don't know. It depends if I get a call or something like that. But thankfully,
yeah,
I'm busy here, so
yeah. I know a lot of people going up there.
He went door to door yesterday, and apparently somebody was not happy and called the police on him because he's soliciting. And yeah, then the police came and just dude, you gotta go. He's like, all right, sorry. And then he gave him a business card.
Never miss a networking opportunity.
When you told me that, I'm just like, you're hired, dude. You're gonna be around for a while. You're out there hustling. So, is there anything that in particular that you wanted to discuss in regards to claims? I know you mentioned the AOB, directions to pay, and stuff like that. Is that something that you want to sort of elaborate on?
Yes. So let's dive into this a little bit, because I feel like, I don't know how familiar you are. You probably know the law changed last year with assignment of benefits, AOBs. And I've just seen a lot of confusion, because I get my claims my cases rather, from public adjusters, right? And sometimes there's a little bit of confusion about the water mitigation, mold mitigation, and who pays for that and whatnot. So originally, obviously before this law change, assignment of benefits was just every company was using assignment of benefits. So, if client needed, dry out or any type of mold, anything, client would sign an assignment, and then the mitigation company could then stand in place of the homeowner and then go to the insurance company and say, hey, pay us directly. If the insurance company didn't pay, that mitigation company could then sue because they owned part of the policy benefits, right? Now, because of the law change, there's different requirements, things you have to do. There's a cap on how much you can charge, 3% or $3,000 or 1% of the coverage A. There's a bunch of issues with the attorney's fees provision if you do have to sue. So people have been straying away from assignment of benefits and into directions to pay, which are a bit different. So direction to pay just is a contract between the homeowner and the mitigation company that just authorizes the insurance company to add the mitigation company to the check, basically. But the mitigation company doesn't get part of the policy. They can't stand in the place of the homeowner. They can't sue the insurance company. So there's a lot of differences, right? And so because of that, a lot of these mitigation companies are putting in the direction to pay that the insurance company doesn't pay, the homeowner has to pay. And so I'm seeing a lot of people get confused And, public adjusters are so used to assignment of benefits for so long that they just say, oh, yeah, sign with the mitigation company. They bill the carrier directly, just go for it. You don't have to pay anything. But then things are changing. And so they actually might have to pay something. So I've had a couple like sticky situations where the mitigation companies were then putting liens on the home because they didn't get paid directly. And there wasn't anything, there was nothing in there about, we're waiting for the claim to get paid out. It was just like, you have to pay us within 30 days. So there's been, and I've settled those out of like, calmed companies down. I'm like, okay, we're suing. Don't worry. You're going to be on the check, trying to mitigate that. But I've had some clients who had liens put against their home, which is not a fun thing. So I think it's important to know the difference of what the homeowner is getting into.
So I've had a water mitigation company here who had a direction to pay paid signed by the insured, but it was towards the insurance company though.
Right. So direction to pay is something that it just authorizes the insurance company to pay the mitigation company
Directly.
on the check. So if a check's issued for a water mitigation, normally, depends on what the contract says, but it'll say homeowner, mortgage company, mitigation company.
Yeah, I like it better because we had a troubled client. He was being very difficult, and he received the check for the water mitigation with his name on it as well. And he didn't want to necessarily get rid of it. He felt like it was his. So I called the adjuster and I said, look, you screwed up here. You should not have sent him this check because this is already a difficult client to begin with. And now that he's got this money in hand, he doesn't want to get rid of it. I said, what I need you to do, I'm going to send you this direction to pay again, because I've already sent it to you. I'm going to send you this direction. And this is after talking to the water mitigation guy. Thankfully, he's like, dude, I got a direction to pay. Like, they need to send me that check directly. So I told him, I said, look, I need you to, here's a direction to pay. I need you to put a stop pay on that check and send it directly to the water mitigation company. She's like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I need to speak to legal. I'll get back to you. Oh, she spoke to legal. She got back to me, and that's what she did.
Sure.
So that was nice. That was good. So that's almost, it's like better than an AOB, isn't it? It's a little bit less scary, I guess, right?
Well, yes and no, because, it's better in some respects because, then kind of for the insurance company, because then they're not getting sued twice, and that's why they made that law, because to benefit themselves. But it's slightly better because for the homeowner, because then you're kind of more in the loop about what's happening, but it's like you just said, where, if the homeowner gets a check, they may not want to give it up, or they may feel it's unfair that the mitigation company is getting paid and they're not, so it could create more issues.
What about the $3,000 cap on water mitigation? What's the deal with that? Because that's another thing where I've seen the water mitigation companies get paid above and beyond the $3,000. So is that still like a hard-nosed thing going on, or is that just very flexible?
It depends on the company, to be completely frank, but it also, if you've got a huge claim, multi-million-dollar house with a huge coverage A, it's going to exceed the $3,000. So that would be that kind of case. But at the end of the day, the mitigation company can also ask for approval to go above and beyond, a permission, I guess I should say.
Had a freak occurrence recently where the water mitigation company got a letter from the insurance company saying that they're denying his water mitigation payment because he did not get the mortgage company to endorse his contract.
Really?
Is that crazy or what?
Yeah.
So he and his wife contacted the insurance company and said, hey, like, what's this? And the lady was like, had no idea who sent it, because all these claims get reassigned now. It happens all the time. It's one adjuster to another. It's ridiculous. And it becomes a mess. And she contacted the new adjuster, said, hey, we received this. What's going on with this? We've never received this. Like, how the hell are we going to call the mortgage company to sign our contract for emergency services? That doesn't make any sense. And even the adjuster was just like, oh, I don't know. Let me look into it. It seems like it was a mistake. So, yeah, that sounds crazy, right?
Yeah. There's a bunch of case law on that too, that, you can't like prevent a homeowner from like assigning a post-loss benefit under the policy. And there's so much case law on that, but which the adjusters probably don't know about because they've been told, but lots of issues with that in the past too.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I like this job a lot. I'm guessing you like it a lot too. It's fun.
I love it. Yes, it is fun.
It's fun defending the homeowner. It's fun, I guess, getting into fights with the insurance company sometimes. I've decided to use a new tactic now for as long as I've been doing it, where I just try to make friends. I don't try to make enemies with them. It seems to work pretty well. obviously I can't be friends all the time, but for the most part, I don't know how it is on your end. So you can tell me how it is on your end. But on my end, it's if the more I get along with these people on the other side, the stronger relationships I built with some desk adjusters and especially with the field adjusters, and the better my outcomes become. I mean, I'm guessing it's sort of similar with you guys, right? I mean,
It
you need
is.
to know the lawyers and stuff on the other side,
A
and
hundred percent, 100%. And even if I don't know like that lawyer particularly who's handling that case, like chances are I know somebody in their office. You know what I mean? So I can say, oh yeah, I know so and so. And then I always, always, always build a rapport first. Like I never come out guns blazing because then people feel like they're on the defensive and it just doesn't get anything done, you know? And the days of like the aggressive pit bull attorney are done. Like nobody wants to deal with that, you know? So I try to until I have to, you know, I try to build rapport, you know, be pleasant to work with. I do. I'm a stickler on some things, you know, like I'm like this needs to be done at this time, and you know, I try not to be liberal on some things that really matter, but other things, you know, I'm gonna be, you know, I'm gonna work with them on it. You know what I mean? I think that was better.
I really try to humanize it too. Like they're just humans, I guess, doing their
Yeah,
job. I
doing their
mean,
job.
you know, it's
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that they're working for, I was going to say the devil, but you know, they're working for one of these insurance companies. And I mean, let's face it, right? Deny, delay, defend. That's what they're in the business. It's a business. And one of their largest expenses is claim payout. So they're going to
Right.
hold back every single, this is that. This is a message to all the policyholders out there. I mean, the fact of the matter is that, you know, the State Farm can't pay for all those Super Bowl commercials if they're paying out 100% on all of their claims. State Farm I've been
Mm,
having so much trouble with. I know we weren't supposed to name names, but God, they've been driving me nuts.
really.
They've been driving me
Yeah.
crazy. Just there's
Yeah.
they were blaming it on COVID. Apparently backed up with too many
Uh,
claims.
yeah.
But you
I've
know,
been getting that a lot. Like, oh, because COVID. Now I'm like, COVID started about 6 months ago. Like, you know,
right?
it's time to get things rolling. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
I
mean,
had many people who were like, oh, like we have no way to work from home, and I was like, you gotta fix that because we're not waiting around.
you know, and I offered to FaceTime. I offered to do all that stuff. I mean, you could see all the damage here, but if we're
Right.
gonna file a claim and you're not gonna send anybody out for 2 months to inspect the loss, it's like, why
Jeez.
am I even? Yeah, what am I doing here? And that's
Yeah.
sort of what's been happening with that. But whatever. What are you
What a
gonna do?
mess. What a mess.
What's your plans about now that you have your own business? So what are some of your plans? What are some of your dreams? What do you want to be when you grow up?
Am I grown up yet?
You're there. You're there. Let's go. So tell me about
I
what you
guess I am
do with
now.
the business, because now you are not just a lawyer, you are a business owner now.
I
So
am
what
a
are some of
business
your plans?
owner. I'm a law firm owner, is what I
It's awesome.
am.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's all up from here. So, you know, I'm growing my staff, support staff, you know, taking on claims, taking on a bunch of claims so far. I want to keep going, want to keep meeting, you know, public adjusters, contractors, roofers, you know, people in the industry that, you know, I can send business to, they can send business to me. You know, it's always great to know good contractors. You know, when you find a good contractor, I mean, hold on to him or her. You know,
Yeah.
it's so important. Yeah, if you could send a great contractor to your client, I think that they just think you're the holy grail.
Right.
This
Right.
is important.
For me, it's always been my best referral source have always been contractors. They have just been
Yeah,
my absolute best referral
yeah,
sources. General contractors, roofers, plumbers, all those guys have been, plumbers have always been okay for me, but the best have just been the GCs that are just going in there and
yeah.
they deal with water damage and everything. Roofers, obviously, after a hurricane are fantastic. So
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but
True.
we're putting in some ads now. I've never used ads before. And
What
now
kind?
we're doing Google ads and Facebook ads.
Ah, okay, that's great.
So we did a landing page, my virtual assistant, thank you very much, which we have to get into VAs. But
Yes,
my
that'll be
virtual
next.
assistant put a nice little landing page together. I'll show you after we're done. And I did a video up against this wall here. And he told me, he's like, all right, make the video with you off to the side. And on that blank wall, we're going to put, you know, all kinds of little cool graphics and stuff like that. And it turned out pretty badass, I must
Did
say.
it?
So now we're doing Facebook ads and Google ads, and we want to get into LinkedIn ads, but they're freaking expensive compared to
Yeah,
the other stuff.
yeah. LinkedIn is expensive. Really
So
expensive.
right now we're attacking roofers, general contractors, water restoration companies in Pensacola and in Tampa. And then the next one we're going to attack the commercial associations, commercial buildings and stuff like that in Pensacola and in Tampa. I don't know. We'll see. It's the first time
That's
that we're
great.
going to do it. So have you ever done that ads at all or no?
Yeah, I've done Facebook ads in the past. we kind of talked about this before, my work is in e-commerce, so he's pretty good with Facebook, Google, Instagram, all that good stuff. So yeah, I am actually, so right now I'm targeting mainly public adjusters, contractors, roofers, people that I know that have claims they can send to me, because I don't necessarily want to jump in on the ground floor with homeowners. I'm not a damages expert. You know what I mean? I would have to send my own person out anyway. So why don't I send, an adjuster out, and they, can handle it. They can resolve it. Great. If not, I'll sue.
Yeah. I mean, I think your number one referral source is public adjusters.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it right here on the podcast.
100%. Yeah.
I'm gonna put you on the list, Brittany.
Thanks.
See if we get you some
On there.
Are you going to Windstorm by any chance? To the Windstorm conference in January?
I had not thought about it. I'm doing the roofing insights conference in December, and NAPIA in December.
You got to hook me up with Dimitri. I'm about to ask him to do a podcast, but I haven't asked him yet because he's got this massive following too.
Definitely ask him. He is great. He is so
Is
great.
he?
Actually,
Okay.
yeah. So I went up there actually to Minnesota where he's at, and I did an in-studio interview with him. And then we talked afterwards. We had dinner. He's great. He really knows his stuff. Definitely want to have him on the podcast.
Once again, right? The power of social media is insane nowadays.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. People, what's funny is people message me, mostly lawyers, that people message me on Instagram like, oh, like, is social media really working for you? Are you actually getting business? Are you getting it? And I'm like, yeah, like this is free advertising. We're getting out, we're getting your word out there, getting in front of people for free. You've never been able to do this before, ever in the history of anything.
And once you establish yourself as an expert in the industry on social media, it just spreads like wildfire. And it's just like all of a sudden you're like the expert when you haven't even met any of these people in person, but because everybody's on Facebook, everybody's on YouTube, everybody's on LinkedIn, everybody's on Instagram, that there's nobody else to go to. So you're like the person.
Yeah.
What about that CEO lawyer guy? He's massive on.
He's incredible. So he's actually, I like modeled myself after him.
Perfect.
So after that whole thing happened with,
what was his name again? Do you remember it? Wasad?
Ali Awad.
Awad, because he gets you a wad of money.
A wad of money. See, even the tagline is catchy. I love it. But I modeled my first early videos off of what he was doing. I was like, this guy has got it figured out. And Top Dog Law as well. Crazy following, just explosive.
Yeah, it's just you can't fail once you do that. But here's the other thing is people do not realize how much time and how much work it takes.
They do not. That's why I have a virtual assistant.
Tell me about your virtual assistant.
Oh, a virtual assistant. Her name is Nina. She is phenomenal. She's in the Philippines. I know we talked about this. So got people all over the world who are working on things for me. So I've got a virtual assistant. I sit down, I record a video, and she does the rest. So she edits, she adds subtitles, she'll plan it out, she'll post it. I write captions and stuff like that, but she's just handling it. She'll post it to Facebook. I've got her ramping up the YouTube channel, everything like that. And if I had to do that still, I wouldn't sleep. It takes time to create content,
Well, Milan, my virtual assistant, if you're listening to this, get your act together because you're not editing. No, I'm kidding. He does so much. It's ridiculous. I started it by myself because, why did I start it? Because I told you I was trying to just get attention to homeowners to be careful with policies. But then I read the Gary Vee book.
Which one?
Crush It.
Crush It. I haven't read that one yet.
Great book. It's it's only I think it's only 160 pages. It's not a big book at all. I actually read it, obviously pre-COVID. I read it on a flight from Miami to Colorado. I read the whole thing in one flight.
Wow.
And I was trying to figure out how to boost my travel YouTube channel with my wife. We've done some crazy adventure traveling, which is another conversation.
I saw that actually.
We got to get into that.
Yes.
We had a travel channel, so I was trying to figure out how to do it, how to make it unique. And I'm reading this book and it talks about adding value and giving away secrets and doing all these things. And it's just light bulb, came up in my head. I'm like, why don't I just do a public adjuster YouTube channel?
Yeah.
And then I start searching public adjusters on YouTube and there's nothing except one or two guys that it's not the best. The quality is just not great. So then I was doing it myself for a while, but then I realized, okay, it's time to take it up a notch. And then I just went on Upwork, interviewed a bunch of people, and I found Milan. And really, because of Milan, I call him the Serbian assassin because he's Serbian and he's an assassin when it comes to just online marketing. And we've just taken it up to a whole other level. I mean, since we've
Yeah.
got him, I probably had like 200 or 300 followers on YouTube.
Oh,
Now we're
that's
almost at like
great.
1,500, and all the channels. And he goes on Canva. He designs all the posts super nice. Co-schedule. We schedule them all out. Now we're getting somebody to edit our video, so I don't have to edit anymore. So those days might be over soon. But it takes so much work, but we need to have an assistant to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially because this isn't, we're not like full-time YouTubers, full-time Instagrammers, you know what I mean? We're running companies, running a business, we're representing clients. So like our focus can't be there, but it has to happen. So I
Yeah.
think it's vital. And I think that, so we kind of like discussed this a little bit. I think having procedures in place before you hire them, so that they know what to do and, this is what needs to be done. So they have like a clear understanding. Because I think people who are not experienced in hiring people, especially virtuals or people that are outside of the United States, they go on Upwork and they just think, okay, edit this, you know what I mean? But they don't give anybody any parameters, you know what I mean? Or, okay, answer these emails, but they don't explain how to answer them, you know what I mean? So I think it's important to like sit back before you hire somebody and think about, what do I need this person to do? How do they do it? Write that down. And then when you hire them, they'll be able to immediately just hit the ground running.
You've got more than one virtual assistant, right?
Yes.
Tell me about your process, the hiring process.
So hiring process. So I also use Upwork. I think it's phenomenal. I always go through Upwork. I think about what I need someone to do. And then I think about, okay, what kind of person could do this? I kind of go backwards. I write out all the tasks I think I need them to do. Sometimes if I think that there are tasks that aren't like cohesive, I'll take them out and like have, say, okay, this needs to be another person. I try to keep everything within the bubble. You know what I mean? So I'm not having my social media VA answer my law firm emails. That just doesn't really work. They're not in their zone of genius. So I think about what I need this person to do. What kind of person does this? Somebody who's collaborative, creative, has the time to do X, Y, and Z. And I say a little bit about my firm. So I post that up there. And then I kind of look for somebody who, like, I think personality wise, just based on what they've said, would fit with me and would work with me well. And then I just interview them, video interviews. I had 3 this morning. I have 3 more tomorrow. I'm just, trying to hire all those people to do everything.
Do you give them any tasks to do to like just test them out?
I don't even do that. I just say, you're great. If somebody is coachable and their personality fits with mine and they're willing to learn, hired. You know what I mean? I think that I can teach them to do what they need to do. You know what I mean? So I don't give them any kind of like tester. I just say, you're going to be great. Let's hit their ground running. And I just give them their first tasks of going through the procedures and doing like the first thing, the first client intake, the first video editing, something like that. And then I kind of work from there and I coach them on, okay, improve this, change this, great job here.
Yeah, I think it's also very important for us as the business owner to be as hands-on as possible in the beginning, and then eventually try to be as hands-off as possible. But in the beginning, it really helps because they don't know, they might be good at whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing, but you're the owner of the business. We need to teach them step by step of how we want things. And then, I mean, the sky's the limit. I always say, if you invest as much time as possible in the beginning, you're going to save so much time later on.
100%. I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more on that.
I do something similar. I would say that. So this is to all the PAs out there or anybody that wants to hire a virtual assistant. This is good stuff. I was noting the time that we were talking about this so I could let them know. But I do the same thing. I'll go on Google and I'll say social media expert job responsibilities. And it'll come out with a whole list, and then I'll copy paste.
Good idea.
Yeah. And then I'll talk about my business and what we're doing. And then I have an Amazon store where we sell supplements and stuff. And what I did was I actually interviewed 3. And I told them, here are the 2 products that we have currently. And then I said, what would be your plan over the next 6 months? And I gave them 24 hours. One guy gave me like a Word document of some like bullet points, while the other guy gave me an Excel spreadsheet like I've never seen before. He broke down all the competition and everything and how much their average cost per sale is and all this. It was just like incredible. And he's in the Philippines. So yeah, that was good.
That's great. You know what I do to kind of weed out people that I know that wouldn't be a good fit is at the end of the post, I'll say, like, if you're interested in this position, like, reply to this post with, number 1, what are your goals, like personal goals? What are your personal goals over the next whatever year? And 2, what times are you available for an interview on this day and this day? And then I look through, I mean, you get, 20 applications and you look through, and if somebody didn't answer those questions, if they didn't tell me a goal, or if they at least didn't give me a time that they'd be available, I'm like, well, they didn't read all the way through to the end. So,
Right.
they're automatically disqualified.
I
I
always
think
put
that's huge.
those questions and on Upwork where you could add those, you could add those like personal questions. I always,
Hmm.
if they didn't answer those, then that's it. That's already strike one. So you're out. If they
Yeah,
answer them, then I look at the answers to see how I liked
right.
it, and then we'll go from there.
And it's
One,
important, like, to see, like, if they actually answered it. Did they put like 3 words, or did they give you a thought out, couple
right,
sentences?
right.
Yeah.
One thing that I've learned that I went through about 4 virtual assistants before I found a good one for like my clients
Wow.
and stuff. One thing that I learned from a friend of mine who's a business owner, pretty big, he's got like over $1 million payroll clothing company, and he's sort of been my business coach. And he gives these personality assessments. One is called the Culture Index.
I've heard of these, yes.
Yeah, one is called the Culture Index, and the other one is called, I can't remember right now, but Culture Index is the one that he uses a lot. And that I have found to help a lot because I did it on myself. I've got strengths, I've got weaknesses, and it's good if you could find people who've got sort of like who are strong where you are weak, and who are maybe sometimes weak where you are strong. So I don't know if you want to give that a shot one day. That has helped me.
Yeah, I do. Oops.
Where'd you go? Are you still there?
Did I come back?
Okay, you're there.
Don't know what happened there.
So as far as virtual assistants is concerned, is there any particular place that you like to have your virtual assistant from, or it doesn't really matter, right? I guess whoever comes in, and if you click with them, it's like that's going to be the person.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's really it. It's been really the Philippines, because those are a huge chunk of the people that are applying as well.
Well, most of them speak perfect English too. What I've
That's
noticed.
true. That is
People,
true.
I feel like
I
people-
had my virtual use the word negligible last week, and I was like, Americans don't even use that word. She's on point.
That's a tough word. You had a
That
little
is.
trouble right there saying it.
Yeah, I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And do you have a physical office, or do you really do have like a virtual office?
Home office. Yeah,
Okay,
home
so
office.
what do you use? For example, I use G Suite. What do you
Mhm.
use to sort of communicate with everybody and keep everything organized?
So I've got all my procedures as Google Docs. I talk to my virtuals through Slack. So there's a certain channel for everything. Yeah, I love Slack.
It's
And
awesome. It's the best.
and they can task me right through that through Asana. So they just like task me, like, so whenever, Nina's done with a video, she'll task me, here's the video title, done with this, please review it. I think Slack is great.
I
I think
love
that's
Slack.
key. Back and forth emails, just everything gets lost, and there's so many emails, and no, email is for other things. Slack is for, team.
And I like how you could have like the different little groups, and some are private groups with other people, or you could talk. Yeah, I like all that stuff too. But tell
Yeah.
me about Asana. I don't use Asana.
So Asana is just it's just a task management kind of, like, you put due dates in, you assign them to people, task management really. But you can link it to Slack so that when my virtual is done with something and she wants me to prove something, or if I want her to do something, I will task her in Asana, and it'll automatically, send her reminders, and it'll have a due date on there and stuff. And then it'll pop up in Slack like, hey, this is due this date, or she can task me right through there, review this video, and then I can go into Asana and say, okay, reviewed, done.
We use Trello.
Okay, yeah, same thing.
It's kind of the
I think
same.
you can also, link Trello to Slack and be able to task people.
Oh yeah, I was trying to
Because you can
figure
do
that out.
commands in Slack. So you can do
Right.
like /Asana and then type out whatever you need, and then you can create the task right there in Slack. Because then
You
you're not using a bunch of different programs. You know what I mean?
see, and when we first talked on the phone, I was like, we're like twin souls when it comes to this
Okay.
virtual office. It's just the way to go. Like I mean,
It
come
is.
on, people. Like if you still have a physical office, I feel it's just like you're going into. I mean, I guess I love when people tell me, "Oh, I just can't work from home. I don't get anything done." It doesn't make any sense to me. It's so much more
No,
comfortable.
it's so much more comfortable. You don't even have to wear pants. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just, I love it. I love it for many reasons. And it's just, people say, oh, you can never shut off. And like, I don't exactly want to shut off. So I don't see that really being a bad thing. But it's like, you have everything right here. You don't need to stop and go get something. You don't need to, nobody's really bothering you coming into your office. I think it's so much better.
That leads me to, honestly, that leads me to travel.
To
because
travel.
the benefits of having a virtual office, people, the benefits of having virtual assistants that you're always communicating online, the benefit to just always going through Asana, Trello, Slack, and everything is basically in the cloud is that you could be anywhere in the world at any time of the day or whatever it is, even if you're at a 12-hour difference, and you could still get work done. Now, that could be, I guess, a double-edged sword, right? Because, that means you could always get work done, but if you could learn to figure it out, like if you could learn to figure out your schedule, especially while you're traveling, and you just, let's say you go traveling, you just spend an hour a day, or I would say like an hour a day, just respond to the emails, respond to your
Right.
VAs. And if you've got your VAs trained well enough where they're handling a lot of your cases, like my claims are handled, I don't even know if I should say this in the podcast, but like 80% of my claims are handled by the VA just by doing whatever she has to do. And then I take care
Right.
of the last 20%. So you've been to some pretty amazing places, right? You were
I
just on a
have,
trip and it was COVID. How did you do it?
with a mask.
Where'd you go?
We went to Mexico because that's the
Gotcha.
only place accepting really Americans right now. But we went to Mexico, and like, Mexico's like right there. So I never really thought of going there. Whenever we went on
Yes.
vacations, we would go to Thailand, or I mean, I've been to India, Singapore, Europe, everywhere. I love worldwide travel. Another huge reason I wanted to start my own business is for travel reasons. Like that was a huge. We want to take like a year long like sabbatical, go everywhere. Like we were like talking about moving to Thailand. Like we love to travel, and so that's another reason I want to do this business. But we were just in Mexico. Beautiful. I've never really even been. I mean, never
Where'd you
really been
go?
to Mexico. We went to
Where?
Riviera Maya, so it's
Ooh,
like about an hour south of Cancun. We stayed at this resort called the Unico. If you want somewhere that's just the most beautiful, amazing place where people are super happy, Unico is it. Unico is it.
Unico.
I mean, Thailand is also like that, but if you want someplace closer, I mean, it's about like an hour flight. We went from the Fort Lauderdale airport to Cancun, and then it's another hour drive to the resort. Gorgeous. And it's in the middle of the jungle. You can see all the stars, and it was great food, beautiful beaches. Loved it. We're actually literally just talking about going back.
You posted on I don't know if you saw my message. You didn't respond to that one because maybe you didn't see it. But when you're like, "Oh, guess where I'm going throughout all this COVID," and I was like, "Turkey," because Turkey is another one of the
I
only
did see that.
countries
You
that
responded to the sticker. Yes, I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Turkey's one of the only countries. We were about to go there. We had a trip traveled. A trip traveled. What am I saying? We had a trip planned to Turkey, but we decided because I didn't really want to fly for 9 hours with a mask on. So we
Yeah.
were going in 2 weeks. We're going to Vegas, to Utah, and we're doing Grand Canyon. We're doing Zion National Park, and we're
Nice.
doing Lake Tahoe.
And you can just bring your work with you, and that is the dream.
I told all my 3 VAs, which by the way, going back to the VA real quick, it's so cool. I don't know about you, but I have a monthly meeting with all my VAs, even though I have like 3 different businesses, but we have a monthly meeting because I want everybody to sort of communicate together. And it's just, to me, every single time I have the meeting where I see the Tammy up here from Japan, Milan over here is in Serbia, and Ed over here is in the Philippines, it always just like trips me out. Like it's just the coolest
Yeah,
thing in the world.
it is cool. I've actually been meeting with my VAs once a week because they're still new, but eventually we'll just do that monthly meeting as well. I think that's important.
Oh, I love it. Mexico, by the way, is probably my favorite place in the world.
Really?
Well, I
See,
speak
that was
Spanish.
really my first time, and I was like, this is beautiful. Like, my favorite place is Thailand, but Mexico might be a really close second because it's closer.
So my reasons for loving Mexico is because of almost the same reasons why I love Thailand. And it's 2 reasons. Well, I guess maybe 3 reasons. It's cheap, great food, and really nice people.
Really nice people, like happy people who are, I love it.
When did you go to
Love
Thailand?
it. End of 2018. We were supposed to go back. We're going to do Japan and Vietnam and Thailand again, maybe the Maldives in January, February time. But then COVID hit, and we're like, and it was only hit over there, right? And we were like, oh, well, let's let it blow over. And then we'll go in like,
Blew
a
over, all
couple
right.
months. And now I'm like, has it blown over yet? I'm ready to go
Killing me,
back.
right? It's killing me. This no traveling thing. I can't believe that I'm going on my first vacation of the year in a couple weeks. I mean, I know I hate to sound snobby, but I mean, it's just a passion of mine. Seems like a passion of yours. I think, well, here's the thing is I actually did a video like this on Facebook for public adjusters where I said, do you want to what did I say? I said something like, do you want to grow your business or do you want to make more money? I said travel more. And the reason why I said that is because when you go on an extended travel, you come back so refreshed, so energized, and so hungry for more because you want to go back on that travel adventure again. So,
Right.
it takes money and work, but you're just so like, you're refreshed, you're energized. I don't know about you, but when I go on vacation, I read a lot. So I'm like thinking of ideas. I'm on my phone, like writing new notes and stuff for ideas for my business and everything. And it's because when you travel, you've got the time to do all that stuff. Yeah, I guess you have a little bit more time to work on your business, even while traveling, than when you're working in your business too much,
I completely agree. And actually, I journal a lot on vacation. I journal every day anyway, or almost, but
Awesome.
even more so on vacation. I mean, even when we were just in Mexico, I was just, I woke up in the morning, we got breakfast, went and like laid on a couple chairs, I'm journaling, went back, took a nap, came back. You get so much like inner work done, and I was like, I was thinking like, okay, what's the next step? What's the big thing I need to do? And here we are.
So when you went to Thailand, how long were you there for?
We're there for 2 weeks. I also went to Singapore and India on that trip. It was very fun. I loved it.
I don't know how much interest I have in going to India.
I wanted to go to say I went. Wanted to go to say I went, and it was
Yeah,
a very cool experience. I'll give it that.
but
Very cool experience. But it was
I heard it's very dirty.
shocking.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very. So the pollution's so bad that so Agra, which is where the Taj Mahal is like an hour or 2 hours from New Delhi. So we had a really nice resort in New Delhi. Took a car, and you couldn't even see like skyscrapers. Like you couldn't see the top of skyscrapers. That's how bad the pollution was. You couldn't see
Smog.
the top of skyscrapers. It's so much smog. I actually ended up getting a respiratory infection. We were supposed to be there for like 4 or 5 days, and we were only there for two because it was like
I
it
had,
was
a,
it
had, a,
was interesting.
I had a buddy of mine who went on like a 2-month backpacking trip, and I had already been to Thailand. I've been to Thailand twice, and
Right.
I'm like, you got to go to Thailand. You got to go to Thailand. He's like, well, I'm gonna go for 2 months. I'm gonna get to Thailand, but I want to spend a month in India first, and then I'm gonna go to Thailand. He lasted a week, and he left. He went to
Really?
Thailand. He's like, I'm out of here.
Wow.
I didn't want. He's like, I
Wow.
didn't want to be there anymore. Yeah, we did. First time. Thank God for my wife. She's like just travel enthusiast. I never was. My idea of a vacation before I met my wife was just going to a resort, sitting by the pool, having some drinks, and then that's pretty much it, right? And then I meet her, and we were able to get some money, and whatchamacallit, she's like, I want to go to Thailand. I'm like, Thailand, you're crazy. She's like, yeah, let's go. So first time going on vacation with my wife, it was just constant walking. We were just walking from one temple to another temple, taking the tuk-tuk and taking those and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I just remember after the first day, I'm just like, is this traveling with you? I was exhausted from just all of the walking that we did. And now, I mean, fast forward, we've been together about 8 or 9 years or so. Fast forward there, and now that's all I want to do. All I want to do is just
I bet.
the more crazy adventure, the better.
I hear you 100%. And I have always been like a traveler. Like my first ever like big trip was when I was 16. I did a student exchange with a girl
Nice.
who was in Italy. So she came and stayed with me for a month. I went to stay with her for a month, and I was like overawed because like 16 there is like you're basically an adult. Like they let you do whatever you want. And I'd never had that really kind of freedom, because 16, you're in high school, whatever. But I mean, I was traveling everywhere. I was by myself, exploring, and I was like, this is traveling. So I got bit by the travel bug really early. And then I just kept going back to Europe, to Asia. I just wanted to go everywhere.
So, two books that I would recommend to you. Vagabonding is one of the best
Somebody said that to me the other day. I got to write that down.
books I've ever read. I mean, it's just like
Write that down now.
it tells you how to just go. It talks about extended travel. So it tells you that like going for a few days or going for a couple weeks is not the way to do it. You need to
Yeah,
go for at least minimum a month if you really want to
I
do
would agree with that.
I agree with it more.
I would agree with that.
So then the other book that I would strongly recommend that really, really got all of this going as well was The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss.
I've read that. Yes,
Right.
years ago actually, but I've read that. I should probably read it again.
Yeah, I've read it like 5 times.
Really?
And he talks about virtual assistants before virtual assistants was really a thing.
That's true.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
you
that's
did.
kind of, I don't know about you, but that's also a big time goal of all this stuff that I'm doing here with the social media and everything like that is once we get the online courses and we got things going on, then hopefully there's a way that, because we went on some extended travel, we did 3 weeks in Thailand, and I'll never forget. I'm sorry. We did 3 months or 2 months. I can't remember now. We did 2 or 3 months across Southeast Asia, We did
Wow.
Vietnam, we did Thailand, we did Singapore, we did Malaysia. And before I left, I didn't sign any claims for like a month just because I didn't want to deal with work. I didn't want to have to
Right.
deal with it. So I come back after 2 months. I hadn't signed a claim for 3 months. And it was funny because while we were traveling, I was making some good money. Claims were settling, so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden I got back, and about a month later, we're like broke. And I can't figure out why we don't have any money. And then a buddy of mine goes, dude, you left for 2 months. You didn't sign a claim for a month. You didn't sign a claim for 3 whole months. Like, of course you're broke now. So I've tried ever since then. I've been trying to establish a way that I could travel and make money while I travel.
And here you are.
I don't know.
Doing it.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say, Brittany, I have been wanting to interview you for a while. If we can call this an interview, I don't think it really is. It's more like a conversation.
More of a chat. Yeah.
More of a chat.
Yeah.
I want to say that it was more than what I expected. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me on here. I appreciate it.
I'm very excited about your new endeavor here. I think you're going to kick ass. I think you're going to do a really, really great job.
Thank you.
And also I'm very, very happy to hear that you're doing the whole virtual, you're going all online like that. I mean, I think that's fantastic. And honestly, I wish you nothing but the best. Is there anything that you would like to add to our audience, which is mainly public adjusters? I would say mostly public adjusters and probably some lawyers and stuff like that too.
I mean, going off of just, claims things, just claim file is huge. Just always remember to put your claim file together. That's a big deal. And then, also, I mean, if anybody ever has any questions about anything, just related to policy language, anything up to from policy language to virtuals, anything like that, I am always accessible. Like you said, I'll respond to any message, any problems anybody has, I'm there.
So I'm going to do an intro to this, so don't worry, but I will like to say, to make sure that you follow Brittany on Instagram, follow Brittany on Facebook. Most of her, I think your username for pretty much everything is Lawyer Brit.
Yes, lawyer.brit.
Okay, on Instagram, right?
Yes, correct.
YouTube channel, that's going to be starting pretty soon?
Yes, that'll be launched in a few weeks.
Okay, I'm going to talk
It's also going to be Lawyer Brit.
Lawyer Brit on YouTube. And just, I will tell you guys that, like I said, you send a message to Brittany, she responds within minutes, if not at least within hours. I don't know how she does it because she's got like tens of thousands of followers, but she's able to do it, which is pretty impressive. And Brittany, thank you so much for being on with me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you for asking me to be on here.
All right. See you later.
Bye.